Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. Damian Nelson today here alongside David Octavius of Tiberius, the alleged backyard, one-time knockout, straight-edge, hardcore, Hall of Famer hero, and David Hero. We are just 1 week and some change away from the biggest event coming to Orlando next weekend. The Shenanigans VIP party hosted by Kevin Nash next Saturday night.
It's going to be the biggest Shenanigans party ever.
And you know what's great? And I'm encouraged because you've gotten your act together to a degree.
Yes.
Because
I'm efforting.
Our set's back. You reconciled with that lady of the night.
My friends at Pawn Stars.
Pawn?
Yeah, that's where it wound up.
You were on 8 Mile? And you made it? That's where...
I know people.
Wait, now, that's Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
Is that show still on?
Yeah. What's the guy's name?
Les. Yeah. You know, he carries a pistol with him.
Yes, he should.
Why should he?
It's a rough neighborhood.
Folks, WrestleMania 33 is next Sunday in Orlando, Florida. As you know, the Pro Wrestling Report is going to be there. We're going to be covering it live on Fight TV. More information on that later. But so much to get to tonight, David Hero, including brand new WWE Tag Team Champions, a controversial WWE matchup at WrestleMania on the SmackDown side of things is made official. And first, though, we are going to go into this week's big story, which is now we know all of the inductors of the inductees into the class of 2017 WWE Hall of Fame, David.
We do?
We do. We know all of them.
All of them?
We're going to talk about them each
sure?
individually. I am
some
certain.
Some of these notes don't look right to me.
Well, you didn't review. I thought you were fine with them in the pre-show meeting.
Yeah, but then I thought about it.
Oh. Let's go down the list, ladies and gentlemen. And you know who's being inducted. Of course, the main event this year is none other than Kurt Angle. And inducting Kurt Angle will be John Cena. We talked about this a little bit last week in Hot News on the PWR PrimeTime Extra podcast, which is available on iTunes and the Google Play Store. But here in this commercial-free edition on TV of PWR Primetime, David Hero, let's talk about it again.
Yes.
John Cena inducting Kurt Angle. How do you feel about it? And what do you think we'll see?
I'd rather it be Steve Austin. I do. I think it'd be a far better induction. But John Cena's the guy. I mean, you know, everyone says that John Cena was made by Kurt Angle, and yeah, he kind of was, but not completely. But John Cena being the face of the company, welcoming back a former face of the company in Kurt Angle, I think it'll be well-spoken.
All right, moving on from there. Next up, we are going to see the induction of one Thaddeus Long, Theodore Long, by the APA, getting back together, Ron Simmons and JBL. This feels like a bit of a stretch to me, David Hero. Why? I don't see the connection. Oh, because Teddy Long made a tag team match every week on SmackDown. But I thought it was a six-man tag, though.
Teddy Long also managed Ron Simmons for quite a while.
If you have to remind people, then it's not important enough for the induction to be explained that way.
Some people aren't old enough to know that.
That is true, but what do you think of the APA inducting Teddy Long?
I think it's going to be a comedy sketch, making fun of Teddy the entire time. And
Playa?
Yeah.
Who's going to shuffle better? Will it be Teddy Long or JBL?
JBL trips over his own feet. It'll be Teddy. There's no doubt. You seem distracted. Everything okay over here?
I'm checking for some hot news right now. That's what I am doing.
She'll be on later.
So then from there, it is the induction of Diamond Dallas Page. DDP! Hey, it's DDP.
Here's where I'm confused. I thought it was somebody else inducting him.
Inducting him, as announced by WWE thus far, is Eric Bischoff.
I heard it was Jake Roberts.
It's Eric Bischoff, according to WWE.
Great. I wonder how...
A lot of people said it should be Jake Roberts.
No, I think Eric Bischoff is the right guy because Eric Bischoff made Diamond Dallas Page. He did.
Do tell.
Well, Eric Bischoff and DDP were next-door neighbors. They shared a lot of thoughts and moments, and I think it's going to be a great induction.
Well, they were neighbors, but also Eric Bischoff gave Diamond Dallas Page his chance as a wrestler and made him champion in WCW.
Yes,
and it was a far-fetched thing before it actually happened in DDP becoming so popular in the wrestling business. That could all be attributed to one Eric Bischoff.
Absolutely. Eric Bischoff rolled the dice on DDP and became the top babyface in the company for quite a while.
Inducting another top guy in the company, WWE that is, ravishing Rick Rude, will be Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I'm also missing the connection here, David Hero.
They had big feuds in the NWA, WCW.
Okay.
Who else?
So we're going back a ways. You talk about Ron Simmons and Teddy Long, now Steamboat and Rude.
Their big feuds were in Florida.
And championship
that's where
wrestling
we're
from.
Be, yes.
Let's be Gordon
honest.
Soleil.
Who's left? to
induct
Rude.
Ravishing Rick Rude.
All the guys that had feuds with him are dead except for Jake Roberts.
Oh, Jake Roberts. Is that Jake's most memorable feud in WWE? Him and Ravishing Rick Rude?
I think him and Undertaker. Or maybe him and Ultimate Warrior.
He never put their wives on his tights, though, did Ravishing Rick Rude?
Well, no.
On his tights.
Oh.
Next up, and this one was announced just yesterday, but inducting Beth Phoenix will not be who a lot of people thought, her husband Edge.
No, that would be terrible.
But Natalya Neidhart will be doing the honors there.
They're besties.
They are indeed. They Glamazon, inducted by Natalya. What do you think, David Hero?
I like Beth Phoenix. I think she's awesome. Great talent. Hall of Fame career, not so sure.
You're still not for it. Let's see.
Okay, you have
Bayley.
You have Miss Elizabeth.
Beth Phoenix.
You have Luna Vachon.
Finn Balor.
There's so many others
CM
that
Punk.
could have gone in. Molly Holly.
The Miz. Sami Zayn. Oh, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
You're distracted again. Can you just stay?
Oh, I was just
focused on
counting up the
show?
people you hate because it seems like she might be one of them as well.
I don't.
Why can't you appreciate?
I do. I appreciate.
They both
more,
end the same way, an 8.
right? Have I ever once said I hated The Miz?
Folks, Kurt Angle
Have I ever
is the
once said I
main
hated
event.
Bayley?
You've said you
Have I
hated
ever
one
once
superstar in
stated-
this show who's endorsed. You said it on
No,
ESPN
no,
Radio
no,
when we
I
were on
said
ESPN
that-
Radio. You
I
said,
said-
and I quote, Mr. Trump, blank sucks. That's what you said.
no.
After I said to you, nobody on this program is ever referred to as, who is a wrestler, as sucking.
All I ever said was Cody Rhodes at the time absolutely sucks. That's what I said.
Ladies and
And he's
gentlemen.
gotten a lot better since then. I think I motivated him to be great. He became the American Nightmare after all.
So do you feel partially vindicated?
Cody and I have an understanding now. He gets it.
Folks, they say Kurt Angle's the main event, but if there is anything that will be as high end, if you will, at the Hall of Fame as a co-main event, will be the man who is inducting the Rock and Roll Express. Ladies and gentlemen, James E. Cornette, Jimmy Cornette of the Jim Cornette Experience podcast makes his return to WWE as the inductor of the Rock and Roll Express, and a lot of people are expecting a lot more than they're actually going to get from Jim Cornette at this experience.
He's going to be on a short leash.
Oh, he's going to be with a live mic.
But they can easily cut the mic.
It's live on WWE Network as well. Okay, Mr. T. They didn't cut his mic.
They should
You
have.
know what? Maybe they did 30 minutes in. Bob Backlund, who screwed us over at Shenanigans in New York,
Yes, he did.
they never cut his mic. Now we're talking Bob Backlund. Well, Cornette is a legend in this business.
He is, and there's a lot of bad blood there. And
No. Is there bad blood with Cornette and WWE, or is there just bad blood with Cornette?
Well, let's not forget
Surrounding
let's
Cornette.
not forget who's all going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah?
Cornette and Bischoff don't see eye to eye.
No?
They're going to be backstage.
At least Vince Russo won't be anywhere. to
And
be
let's
found.
face it, him and Nash aren't buddy-buddy, and they're going to be in the green room together.
Cornette has spoken highly of Nash in the last several months, though.
Right,
He's
but-
given him the credit that is due, but they're personally, they're not on
No.
the best of terms.
No. I mean, if I would go to the Hall of Fame just to watch Cornette.
I am going to the Hall of Fame just to watch
Are you
Cornette.
going to go? You're going to go now?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Well, there was only it's called a +1 for a reason.
Who's your plus?
I'm not going to reveal that on the show. People might think I'm biased if I do that. What do you
No,
mean?
they
You want
all
me to go
know you
race
love
into the White
Linda.
House
No,
to
they all know you're a
reveal
Linda
the
fan.
information?
It's,
Linda's not going.
no?
She went that one year with that one guy, and he's no longer with the company. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, there's a lot of guys not with the company anymore. What are you saying?
I'm saying I just reported the facts. Linda went to the Hall of Fame 1 year with that one guy, and he's no longer with the company. She was on the broadcast, remember?
No, that was... Yes.
I don't name names.
He got arrested in Japan.
For a little while. Hall of Fame, it's going to be a good show. We were waiting for Cornette. Glad Cornette is going to be the man inducting the Rock and Roll Express. This is a good class, David Hero. A better class than I thought it would be. You clearly disagree by that facial
I do.
expression.
Okay, Cena Angle is going to be great.
You say it like it's a match.
AP is going to have a good induction. Bischoff will be a great induction. Steamboat, I love Ricky Steamboat, but he gets long-winded. Beth Phoenix,
You're just not able to appreciate this Hall of Fame. Are you going? You're not going to go.
I will not be there.
You're otherwise detained.
I'm not going to sit through 5 hours of speeches.
Yeah.
I've done that before.
Yes.
I fell asleep,
You did.
and it was caught on TV. It was embarrassing.
And it should have been. That is this week's big story, ladies and gentlemen. With that, it is time to go into this week's WWE Raw Report. David, remember, we sail right through on television here in Milwaukee on Channel 14. We returned home last week for our 19-year anniversary, our 800th episode. This episode 801. You get a break between Primetime and Primetime Extra, the podcast.
So
it's not on there.
27 minutes without a break?
We've got to go about 16 more minutes, yes.
All right,
Can you?
Hurry up.
I know you'll be good for 2 of the next 16 minutes, but will you be able to go longer? Or will you need a break between those sessions? Folks, WWE Raw Report, this is brought to you by Fight TV. F-I-T-E, the Fight TV app, ladies and gentlemen, which we are going to be broadcasting live on.
No, I'm not.
On Saturday, Friday and Saturday.
I'm not included in that either.
March 31st and April 1st from WrestleCon, WrestleMania weekend. I will be joined by SoCal Val. She will be my guest host here on the Pro Wrestling Report as we broadcast live on Fight TV.
Let me get this straight.
From WrestleCon.
I'm not going to the Hall of Fame.
Nope.
And now I'm not being a part of the Fight TV extravaganza.
You are not allowed to do anything before the shenanigans party.
Because I'm tan?
Yeah, so you should stay indoors in Orlando, Florida. It's going to be hot down there. But you are not allowed to do anything before the shenanigans party because you get too distracted with anything that you do before the shenanigans party, and your performance at the shenanigans party is subpar.
I thought my performance last year was fantastic.
You didn't read the reviews of your performance specifically. You didn't see them?
I walked out.
They were on Craigslist.
Misconnections?
I don't think she was there. More later, ladies and gentlemen, on our coverage for Fight, of especially our special correspondent and the stars that will be joining us on Fight TV. But this is the Raw Report brought to you by Fight TV. And what a show it was this past Monday night, David Hero. Triple H has now called for the match with Seth Rollins, saying that they are going to hold WWE. Seth Rollins will anyways. If he shows up next week to sign and hold harmless agreement, then the match is on. And Triple H, you thought, cut a tremendous promo this past Monday night.
He is. He's the best speaker they got because he knows what he's doing. He knows the story they're trying to tell. He knows how to sell tickets.
Oh, yeah.
My only concern in the whole matter is was the crowd excited when he announced a hold harmless?
He was pulling teeth getting a reaction out of
They didn't care.
Brooklyn, yeah.
What should have happened was Seth Rollins should have popped up and walked down the ramp and says, I'll sign it right now.
Because he was there last week, why wouldn't he be there this week?
Exactly.
But he'll be there next week.
And he was beat up, I get it. I mean, it's going to be a great 1980s Memphis punch and kick match.
Yeah.
Where they need all the heat on Rollins' leg for the big babyface comeback in the end.
I think I know the answer to this after we saw what we saw last week on Raw, but if Rollins is not ready, meaning what we saw last week I think tells me he is ready, but if he is not ready, should WWE be taking this risk putting him in the ring at WrestleMania?
He's ready. There's no doubt he can go.
Ain't no doubt about it?
And even if he's not, Triple H is so good they can work around anything. We're not going to see Seth Rollins doing backflips. He's not going to do suicide dives.
And he doesn't need to because this is somewhat of a street fight. It's unsanctioned,
that's how you can hide
if you will.
He'll probably come out in jeans, so he'll be all wrapped up in braces under his knee or under his pants. It'll be fine.
Well, folks, also, this brought up an interesting question, at least on the social media world, about, so if Seth Rollins can sign a hold harmless, why can't another superstar that a lot of people want to see wrestle in the business in WWE for WWE sign the same agreement?
Gosh.
And he's the man over on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan.
Because wrestling is not real. It's scripted television. Daniel Bryan is really hurt.
We'll talk about that in the PWR PrimeTime Extra podcast because we don't have time. I teased the podcast, so people can go right now to the iTunes or Google Play Store and download the free podcast by searching PWR on either of those applications.
Right?
No, we're still in the Raw Report, segment 2.
I understand that, but I want my notes so I don't lose my train of thought.
You can write those anywhere.
I was just going to try to keep it in order.
Next up from Raw, ladies and gentlemen, Mick Foley, the general manager. Was he a general manager or commissioner? He's a general manager. He announces the fact that he is taking a leave of absence, so he doesn't get in the way of things anymore on Raw. He is gone, and of all people to come out and jump to his defense, I did not expect the endorsed Sami Zayn to be that guy. Here we go. How so? Because they both have plaid involved in their outfits?
That's part of it. And Sami Zayn.
Both have beards?
Yes, and he's the underdog, the way
from the underground.
Mankind was. Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, Dude Love.
Is Mick gone, or is Mick having surgery or doing a TV show?
He's taking some time off.
Does he need to be replaced in the interim?
Absolutely. Somebody has to. And
Who do you think it will be?
Well, there's a lot of rumors that Kurt Angle is going to be that guy.
Yeah?
I think that would be great TV to have Kurt Angle because he brings integrity to the show.
He also brings intelligence.
Intelligence. And what else?
Intensity.
Yeah. I just wish Mick would have one more match. I think they could use him on this WrestleMania.
You want Mick to have one more match,
Yes.
but you don't want Shane McMahon wrestling AJ Styles.
Because it's completely different. You're wasting AJ Styles.
We'll talk more about that on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. As time is quickly escaping us here on television in Milwaukee.
I want to talk about right now, and we're pushing it off to
Well,
later.
I think you probably want to talk about this as well. It was the acknowledgement, if you will, it seemed at least publicly, of something we've not talked about on this program, David Hero, but we'll talk about on the podcast, Primetime Extra. But we're going to talk about what everybody
What are we
knows.
gonna talk about right now?
Everybody who's watching the show knows the situation with Paige. She had some tapes, some videos rather, and some photos
Oh, yeah,
of an
those weren't
explicit
tapes.
nature released of her from her personal device. And other stars from the company were featured in some of those amateur videos. One of them was Xavier Woods. And
Well,
I think,
I wonder if he has any creed for his consequences
that
right now.
is, I think, why the New Day started off their little skit on Monday night by both looking at Xavier and then Big E asking, "Do you have anything you want to tell us?"
Well, let's be honest. I mean,
It was well done. I thought it was great tongue-in-cheek acknowledgement of a situation that
just
is
said
out of everybody's.
tongue-in-cheek talking about Paige and the New Day.
I don't think I saw any tongue-in-cheek activity in those videos.
You know what it really was, though?
Did you watch them all?
Yes. Well, I have to do my research, and here is my conclusion on everything.
Hold the button, Linda.
She was, they got the New Day pops coming out, and it's no doubt
The New Day popped all right.
She wanted to see how many licks it takes.
Stop. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, The Undertaker comes out, confronts Roman Reigns again, but I was a little surprised, David Hero, that he took the opportunity to chokeslam Braun Strowman, which allowed him to be speared by Roman Reigns.
Yes, because it took Taker's attention away. Because Taker has gotten the better of Roman Reigns the last couple times.
He has.
And Braun Strowman now has a reason to get his revenge maybe next week.
That he does, folks, and that concludes this week's WWE Raw Report, at least here on the TV edition of Prime Time. And now with that, we'll get your overall thoughts on both shows. We'll talk about the Fatal 4-Way that is now for the Women's Championship from Raw as well on the podcast. I'm sure you do, and we're not going to because we'd like to stay here on the air on TV, Channel 14 in Milwaukee. But with
You
that,
think I would have got kicked off for that? Where that was going?
I know you would have.
I forgot about that. I forgot about standards and practices. Thank God you're here. Seriously.
The biggest party event of WrestleMania weekend is back. WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash presents Shenanigans Orlando. Join Nash and his friends for a huge VIP party Saturday, April 1st. Party with the biggest stars of wrestling at the pub at Point Orlando on International Drive to kick off WrestleMania weekend. Don't miss Shenanigans Orlando, hosted by Kevin Nash. Tickets are available now and going fast at PWRshow.com. That's PWRshow.com.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for this week's SmackDown Report. SmackDown, well, the match is official now, David Hero. It is one-on-one at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Shane O'Mac, Shane McMahon will take on AJ Styles. Shane McMahon getting the best of AJ this week, 1 week after AJ put his head through a Toyota window.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Is that glass tempered?
It's amazing he was cleared to come back the next week.
Only had a small cut.
And drop an elbow off the top rope onto a table again.
You hate Shane McMahon too. You see, here's why I say you
gimmick
hate
is
these people.
old.
The gimmick is old.
Yes.
What gimmick?
Shane McMahon.
Being a daredevil who takes chances, who proves he should be there, who
50
proves
years
he's
old.
So is
wrestles
however
once
many
a
other.
year.
Goldberg is 50. Okay, and the problem, Undertaker, I think hasn't wrestled since last WrestleMania. That's weird.
No, he was in the Rumble in January.
Oh yeah. Okay, so he wrestled 1.2 times this past
Okay.
year.
No, maybe.
He was number 30, wasn't he? No, that was
He
Roman
still
Reigns.
showed up.
Why are you bickering here? We've
I'm
got
not.
7 minutes left.
Well, you're going to go over anyhow.
I can't. We go to the podcast. We can't go over. We have TV time.
You're
like
you're
Casablanca.
wasting AJ Styles. You're wasting him.
I appreciate your opinion.
He's too good.
I appreciate your opinion. You know what?
I'm not the only one that thinks that way.
On our online on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MaxSports, we do the show called Feedback Friday, which we'll be doing your favorite show, and we have some your comments about the wasting of AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and we'll talk about those tomorrow on Feedback Friday. But continuing along the SmackDown train, if you will, we've got brand new WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions after a tremendous matchup between American Alpha and the Usos. The Usos win the match and become new champs.
3
just
times.
2 weeks
3 times.
prior to WrestleMania.
3 times. That's exciting.
You did say it 3 times.
Yeah, with the 3-time tag team champions.
No, you said it 4 times now.
I'm just trying to keep on track with everything.
That's not going to
I don't understand. I mean, it's great. It just means there'll be a title change at WrestleMania SmackDown.
It means that?
Yeah.
Or does it add more intrigue? I don't think they've announced the tag match at Mania for SmackDown, have they?
No.
So now will it be just those two, or do you think we'll see other teams from SmackDown
I hope
involved?
it's a ladder match with those 2 teams.
Ooh, sweet.
We don't have
Jesus.
one of those yet.
Wow. That would be fantastic. So we'd have 2 marquee tag matches over WrestleMania weekend. One from Ring of Honor and another from WWE.
Yes. The only reason, but there's no way to get to a ladder match this quick. There's no reason to get there. Why do you do it?
Can they do it over the course of next week? Maybe next week there's some shenanigans and a rematch on SmackDown?
I would like to see an Iron Man match.
An Iron Men match?
Yeah. An Iron Tag match.
Never been done, I don't think.
I don't think so. I think that would be great because they're both solid teams. Ladder match would be cool. I think they need to have some special stipulation on that because both teams are so talented.
Well, folks, more to discuss from SmackDown, including an announcer situation that we don't quite know the full story on, but we have some speculative things to go over.
I'm not speculating anything.
Also, we'll share our overall thoughts on the program, along with another match that has been made official for WrestleMania, highlighting the Intercontinental Championship. With that, we are now going to continue here, and actually, no, we're not. We're going to go to Linda Kay at this week's Event Center.
Welcome to the PWR Event Center. I'm Linda Kay. Join us at the biggest party of WrestleMania weekend. It's the Shenanigans VIP Party hosted by Kevin Nash on April 1st. Tickets are still available at PWRshow.com. Ring of Honor makes its return to Milwaukee on April 28th at Turner Hall Ballroom. Tickets are available at taptheater.org. And WWE makes its return to the area to Chicago at the Allstate Arena for WWE Backlash. That's on May 21st, and tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com.
Thank you, Linda Kay. Well, good to see Linda back. You know, we were devoid of Linda last week. We didn't have her
We
here.
were divorced over last week.
That lasts longer than a week, at least from
It's an
where I
annulment.
come from.
You got an annulment. I can do those, you know.
Well, Linda talked about shenanigans, folks. We've got even more names to add to the biggest party of WrestleMania weekend, and that is the Blue Meanie. He was there a couple of years ago. He's going to be there.
New York.
He's in New York, and
He
will.
does the meanie dance.
Former WWE ring announcer Justin Roberts will also be there. And by the way, David Hura, I think that we don't have any more names to share. That's for sure. They're all listed on the
It's
website.
because we can't.
Exactly, but there are more confirmed names
Yes.
that will be there.
Well, let's face it.
That we can't say will be there.
It's Al Snow's bachelor party also.
It is, and there'll be a
And-
celebratory shot of celebratory blowjob shot. That's what they're called at 11 o'clock p.m.
Is
You know,
Paige
that's where you
giving
take
those
the
away?
little. Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! What were you going to say before you said that?
I forgot.
I'm sure you did, because you had to get that pop from that little jab. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. This poor woman, her life may be ruined. We're going to talk about it more on the podcast. Gosh almighty, geez.
Wouldn't that be
Shenanigans.
great, though? Think about it.
PWRshow.com.
People would pay big
Tickets
for that.
available now, and we expect the event to sell out in advance of its occurrence next Saturday. So get in where you fit in, because, oh, by the way, tickets also cost you more at the door. So order them in advance, ladies and gentlemen. PWRshow.com. It's Shenanigans, the 6th annual Shenanigans VIP party. David Hero, we've also got, I talked about earlier, we're going to be live on Fight TV. That's FITE Fight. This is hot news, by the way, in case you hadn't figured it out.
I'm following here, yes.
FITE Fight. As I said, I'm going to be joined by SoCal Val. We're going to be on scene at WrestleCon, a huge production, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m. on both Friday and Saturday. We're going to be previewing WrestleMania, previewing NXT, previewing Ring of Honor as well. And speaking of Ring of Honor, ladies and gentlemen, the only place you can watch Supercard of Honor outside of Orlando, Florida will be exclusively on the Fight TV app. That's FITE Fight. The Fight TV app, which you can download for free from the Google Play or iTunes stores. They will be the only ones making the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor available to you to watch on video. That show, of course, will feature the big tag team ladder matchup between the Young Bucks and the Hardys on April 1st. But with that, David Hero, we also have a special correspondent who's going to be joining us and helping us out with our coverage at WrestleMania on Fight TV. Jason Solomon of the Solomonster Sounds Off podcast will be our special correspondent all weekend long.
Another replacement for me?
As well. Yeah.
Obviously takes
He's
two
reliable.
people to
I
replace
listen
me.
to his show every week, his
I
podcast
think
every
he's
week.
very
And
reactionary.
he is a tremendous host on his own
Yes.
without the distraction of you. So I did not want to mess up his mojo. But Solomonster Sounds Off, Jason Solomon will be joining us as a correspondent that weekend on Fight TV. Folks, also, just as we said, Ring of Honor, only available on Fight that night, Supercard of Honor in Orlando, Florida. I understand many of the Ring of Honor peeps are coming over to the Shenanigans party.
They usually do.
Immediately following. Speaking of Ring of Honor, former Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling star Kenny King has a new gig, David Hero. He is going to be featured on the next season of ABC's The Bachelor.
Bachelorette.
If
He's on The Bachelor. That's a whole different Bachelor show, the one I'm used to seeing.
That one would be on Bravo, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right. That'd be interesting. No?
He was a Chippendale dancer in the past, so he's got some
I'm not
skills.
aware of that.
Everybody knows he danced
I've never seen
before.
his show.
I didn't see it. I heard about it, and stop. Just stop. Folks, finally here in hot news, Impact and AAA have announced a partnership, Impact Wrestling. They're going to be sharing talent between the two brands, and Jeff Jarrett, the chief creative officer, I believe he is, of Impact Wrestling, has stated that they're looking for more deals with more organizations.
That's why they're no
like
longer
that.
called TNA. They're now called SAP.
That is this week's hot news, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, we have some sad news, though, to end the show with David Hero. And we're going to have DWHS and the 3 Count on the podcast, the PrimeTime podcast.
The spoken word gets bumped?
You're a bump to the podcast.
It's like I'm going to the pre-show.
PrimeTime Extra, it's free in podcast form only immediately following the Pro Wrestling Report PrimeTime here. But,
I'm on strike.
Unfortunately, though, David Hero, some sad news just coming across the desk here before we started taping. A great dear friend of ours, a colleague of the show, Jim Ross, his wife, Jan, unfortunately passed away just yesterday as a result of some injuries suffered in a traffic accident just the day before. Truly tragic for a wrestling legend, but let alone a man who now does not have his longtime wife in his life anymore. So our condolences go out to you, Jim Ross, heartfelt condolences. And just so you know, and I'm sure you do, that we are right here along with you in your grief, along with all of your great fans and friends and family around the world.
Absolutely. May her memory be eternal.
May it be. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime.
The biggest party event of WrestleMania weekend is back. WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash presents Shenanigans Orlando. Join Nash and his friends for a huge VIP party Saturday, April 1st. Party with the biggest stars of wrestling at the pub at Point Orlando on International Drive to kick off WrestleMania weekend. Don't miss Shenanigans Orlando, hosted by Kevin Nash. Tickets are available now and going fast at PWRshow.com. That's PWRshow.com.